If you ever need to get rid of stress quickly, ask yourself these 3 questions. Now, the third one is the most important. So if you ever find yourself in a stressful situation, first ask yourself if this stressful experience will still matter to you in 5 years. If the answer is no, then just asking yourself that question usually does wonders to lower your current stress levels because it gives you perspective about the situation and helps you realize that in the grand scheme of your life, it's really not that important. Now, if when you ask yourself if this situation will still matter to you in 5 years, the answer is yes, then you have to ask yourself another question. You have to ask yourself what story you're telling yourself about the situation that you're in. The reason why this is such an important question to ask is because most of the time, our suffering and stress about a given situation is caused by the story we're telling ourselves about that situation instead of by the actual facts of the situation. So, for example, if the situation that I'm stressed about is that somebody stood me up for a date, then maybe the story I'm telling myself about this situation is that the other person stood me up because I'm deeply unlovable, and now because of my unlovableness, I'm doomed to be alone forever. Maybe I'm also telling myself that this experience is just another sign that all the good ones are taken and that love doesn't exist and I'll just be alone. As you can see, I'm automatically telling myself multiple stories about the situation and I'm increasing my own stress by letting my mind just run wild and just accepting each of these stories as facts. That's why I then have to ask myself the third and most important question, which is the story I'm telling myself about this situation 100% true? What you'll find when you ask yourself this is that no story is ever 100% true. A lot of the time, the things that we treat as facts are really not facts at all. They're just a momentary opinion that went unchallenged. So in the dating situation, for example, when you're telling yourself that the reason this person stood you up is because you're unlovable, that's not a fact. That's just an opinion that was formed in a brief moment of insecurity because that opinion supported your feeling of insecurity. So when you recognize this and treat it as just an opinion instead of as some kind of undisputable fact about you that now you'll just have to learn to live with forever, then you free yourself to actually begin to see the situation objectively rather than reactively. So if you were to view the dating situation more objectively, for example, what you'll find is that the more likely reason why that person stood you up could be because they lack maturity, or they're afraid of commitment, or they don't have integrity, or they're already involved with someone else, or they don't know how to communicate, or that they just like to play games. Whatever the reason might be, the truth is that that person's action of standing you up for the date tells you everything you need to know about that person, because it tells you that that person is probably not going to make a good partner. So when you find yourself in this type of situation, instead of automatically just jumping to the assumption that the reason why that person behaves badly is because there must be something wrong with you, instead, just take a step back from the situation and ask yourself the 3 questions that we discussed and remind yourself that while it doesn't feel good to be in this type of situation, at least now you have more information about the other person and are able to avoid what clearly would have been a bad partner. So always ask yourself, is what I'm telling myself about this situation 100% true? That question will decrease your stress more than any other question you could possibly ever ask yourself. And it'll radically change your life if you actually ask yourself that on a regular basis. So I hope all of that helped. Check out my YouTube channel for more tips on how to build better relationships. Thanks again.